Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the one thing that's been secretly holding you back without you even realizing it. I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little bit. If you're waiting for him to finally see your worth, if you're holding on because you believe he'll wake up one day and realize what he has, you're not being patient. You're being available to someone who's showing you exactly who he is. And the hardest part? You already know this, somewhere deep down, you know. The signs are there, they've been there. But we do this thing where we explain them away. We create stories that make his behavior make sense. We tell ourselves he's scared, he's been hurt before, he needs time. And maybe all of that is true. But here's what's also true. A man who wants to commit finds a way. A man who sees a future with you doesn't leave you guessing. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the last time you really wanted something. Maybe it was a job, maybe it was a trip you'd been dreaming about. Maybe it was something as simple as a book you couldn't wait to read. When you really wanted it, what did you do? You found a way. You made time. You moved things around. You prioritized it. That's what desire looks like. That's what commitment looks like before it even has a name. Now think about him. Think about his behavior. Not his words, his behavior. Is he showing up the way someone shows up when they can't imagine losing you? Or is he showing up the way someone shows up when they're comfortable with the idea that you might not be there tomorrow? There's a study from UCLA that looked at relationship commitment, and what they found is fascinating. The single biggest predictor of whether someone will commit isn't how much they love you. It's how much they believe they could lose you. Think about that. It's not about how amazing you are. It's about whether they believe you'll stay regardless of what they do. And this is where so many incredible women get stuck. You're showing him every single day that you'll be there. You're patient, you're understanding, you're flexible. You adjust to his schedule, his pace, his fears. And in doing so, you're teaching him that your presence is guaranteed. You're removing the one thing that would actually make him step up. Uncertainty. I know this sounds calculated. I know it sounds like game playing. But it's not. It's about understanding human psychology. It's about recognizing that people value what they're afraid to lose. And right now, he's not afraid to lose you. Because you've made yourself so available, so understanding, so willing to wait, that he doesn't have to be. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with a few months ago. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah had been seeing this guy for almost 2 years. 2 years. And every few months, they'd have the same conversation. She'd bring up the future and he'd say he wasn't ready. He'd say he needed more time. He'd say he was working on himself. And she'd believe him. Because she wanted to believe him. Then one day, something shifted. She didn't give him an ultimatum. She didn't try to convince him. She just quietly started to pull back. Not dramatically. Not as punishment. She just started living her life as if he wasn't the center of it. She made plans without checking his schedule first. She stopped being available every time he texted. She started saying no when it didn't work for her. And you know what happened? Within 3 weeks, he asked her to move in with him. 3 weeks. After 2 years of not being ready, suddenly he was ready. Because for the first time, he felt like he might lose her. And that woke something up in him. Now, I'm not saying this to give you a strategy to manipulate someone into commitment. I'm telling you this because you need to understand something crucial. A man who truly cannot commit will show you that through consistent patterns. And when you see those patterns, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is believe them. So what are these signs? What are the patterns that tell you he'll never commit? First, he keeps you in a gray area. You're more than casual, but you're not official. You're close, but you're not committed. He introduces you to some people in his life, but not everyone. You know some things about his world, but not everything. This gray area is comfortable for him. It gives him the benefits of a relationship without the accountability of one. Second, his words and his actions don't match. He says he cares about you, but he doesn't prioritize you. He says he wants a future, but he won't talk about it in concrete terms. He says you're important to him, but his behavior says you're optional. When someone's words and actions don't align, always believe the actions. Always. Third, he's perpetually not ready for a label. Not ready to meet your family, not ready to talk about the future, not ready to delete the dating apps. There's always one more thing he needs to work through, one more milestone he needs to hit, one more fear he needs to overcome, and the timeline keeps moving. 6 months becomes a year becomes 2 years. Not ready becomes a permanent state. Fourth, he panics when you pull back. This is the tricky one because it feels like progress. Every time you create distance, suddenly he's all in. He's texting more, he's making plans, he's saying all the right things. But the moment you lean back in, he retreats again. This push-pull dynamic isn't love. It's anxiety. He doesn't want to lose access to you, but he also doesn't want to commit to you. So he keeps you close enough to stay, but far enough that he doesn't have to fully show up. And fifth, the most telling sign of all, he's committed before, or he's watching his friends commit, and he's not moving toward it with you. If he's been in serious relationships before, he knows what commitment looks like. He knows how to do it. If his friends are getting engaged, getting married, having kids, and he's not even thinking about those things with you, it's not because he doesn't understand commitment. It's because he doesn't want it with you. I know that last one is brutal. I know it hurts to read. But you need to hear it because the alternative is spending years of your life waiting for someone to choose you when they've already decided they won't. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't about you not being enough. This isn't about you needing to be prettier, funnier, more easygoing, more successful. You could be everything you think he wants, and it still wouldn't change his mind. Because his hesitation isn't about you. It's about him, and you can't fix someone else's inability to commit. You can't love someone into being ready. So what do? How do you move forward when you're starting to see these signs? First, you stop waiting. Waiting is not a relationship strategy. Waiting is what you do at a bus stop, not with your life. If you're waiting for him to be ready, you're putting your life on pause for someone who hasn't asked you to. You're making him the center of your world while you remain optional in his. That has to stop, not as a tactic, not to make him chase you, but because you deserve to live your life fully, right now, regardless of what he decides to do. Start making decisions based on what you want, not based on what might make him finally commit. Want to take that trip? Book it. Want to pursue that opportunity in another city? Go for it. Want to spend Saturday night with your friends instead of keeping your schedule open just in case he's free? Do it. Live your life as if the relationship might not work out, because it might not. And you need to be okay with that before you can make any clear decision about what to do next. Second, you stop explaining away his behavior. We are so good at this. So good at creating narratives that make his lack of commitment seem reasonable. He's been hurt before. He has trust issues. His parents had a bad divorce. He's focusing on his career. And maybe all of these things are true. But they're not reasons to not commit to you. They're explanations for his fear, sure. But fear doesn't mean he gets a free pass to keep you in limbo. At some point, everyone has to decide whether their fear is bigger than their desire for connection. And if his fear is winning, that's information. Stop doing the emotional labor of understanding him at the expense of honoring yourself. Stop being so understanding that you're not being honest about what you need. His fears are valid. But so are your needs. And a relationship requires both people to work through their stuff, not one person indefinitely accommodating the other person's inability to show up. Third, you get really honest about the timeline. Not his timeline, yours. How long are you willing to be in a relationship that isn't moving forward? 6 more months? A year? 3 years? Forever? Because if you don't set a timeline for yourself, you're handing him all the power. You're saying, I'll wait as long as it takes, which translates to, my needs don't have a deadline. This isn't about giving him an ultimatum. This is about getting clear with yourself about what you're willing to accept. And here's the thing. When you get really clear about your own boundaries, when you know what you're willing to stay for and what you're not, something shifts. You stop being so attached to the outcome. You stop being so desperate for him to choose you. And that shift changes everything. Fourth, you watch what he does when you stop chasing. Stop being the one who brings up the relationship. Stop being the one who asks where this is going. Stop being the one who's always trying to move things forward. Just stop and see what he does. Does he step up? Does he start to initiate those conversations? Does he show you through his actions that he's invested in building something with you? Or does he just relax into the comfort of you no longer pressuring him? A man who wants to commit will not let the relationship stall out. He won't let months go by without talking about the future. He won't watch you pull back and just let you go. If you stop pushing the relationship forward and it stops moving, that's your answer. The relationship isn't stalling because you're not pushing hard enough. It's stalling because he's not invested enough to move it forward himself. And fifth, the hardest one, you prepare yourself to walk away. I don't mean you threaten to leave. I don't mean you create drama or give ultimatums or try to force his hand. I mean you genuinely prepare yourself for the possibility that this relationship isn't going to become what you want it to be. And you start to make peace with that. Because here's the truth. You cannot make someone commit to you. You cannot convince someone to see your value. You cannot love someone into being ready. All you can do is show up as your full self, be clear about what you want, and give them the space to decide if they want the same thing. And if they don't, if they can't, if they won't, you have to be strong enough to walk away. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't love him enough. It doesn't mean you gave up too soon. It means you loved yourself enough to not settle for someone who couldn't fully choose you. It means you were brave enough to believe that there's someone out there who won't need years to figure out if they want to be with you. Someone who will see you and know. Someone who will show up not because you've convinced them to, but because they can't imagine doing anything else. I know this isn't what you want to hear. I know you want me to give you a magic formula that will make him finally commit. But the real magic isn't in getting him to change. It's in you recognizing your own worth enough to stop waiting for someone else to see it. It's in you being willing to walk away from someone who can't give you what you need, even if you love them. Especially if you love them. Because love isn't enough. Love has never been enough. You need love and respect. Love and effort. Love and commitment. Love and follow through. And if he's not giving you those things, if he's not moving toward you with intention and clarity, then the most loving thing you can do is let him go. Not as punishment, not as a tactic, but as an act of self-respect. You deserve someone who doesn't need to be convinced. Someone who doesn't need to be chased. Someone who sees you and knows that losing you isn't an option. And until you believe that enough to stop accepting less, you'll keep finding yourself here. Wondering, waiting, hoping. Stop wondering. Stop waiting. Start living. And watch what happens when you do.